Hi guys, Colesy, and today we're going to be recommending some PCs. It's been a while since I've done this, but I figured, being as the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 game is soon to be released, the beta's just been out, I played it, I had fun time, I'm sure many of you guys did. Okay, I look weird on my screen, Jake. Yeah, no. Why do I crawl semi-upright like a giant baby? I figured I'd do PC recommendations specifically for Modern Warfare 2, because I know a lot of people are going to want to play it, and I figured maybe some little helpful advice as to what would be a good PC to run it on would be helpful to some people. I should mention all of these PCs are below £1,000, and a lot of them are closer to sort of the 700-ish range, so hopefully they're not too expensive for a lot of people, and they're sort of within maybe people's budgets without going too bank-breakingly expensive. So here we can see that the minimum we need like a 3rd gen i5 or a 1st gen Ryzen 5, 8 gig of RAM, GTX 960 or a RX 470, 25 gig of disk space, that's not really a problem, and dedicated video RAM, they're saying 2048 megabytes, which is 2 gigabytes, so we're looking roughly for at least a 2 gig card there. In terms of the recommended requirements, like I said, most of these PCs will be meeting the recommended spec rather than the minimum, but we do have one cheaper PC that is for the minimum spec, but the recommended requirements are a i7 4700K or Ryzen 7 1800X, 16 gig of RAM, Windows 10, the other one was Windows 10 as well, GTX 1070 or an RX 580, again, still the same disk space free, but we're looking at a 6 gig video card here rather than the 2 gig, which is on the minimum. So again, we're looking for sort of 1080p playability here, and obviously depending on what exactly you go with depends on the graphics level that you'll be looking at. Obviously, if you go with the minimum spec, you'll be looking more at a lower end graphics setting, and the recommended spec, you'll be able to bump that up a little bit higher. Should we jump into some PCs? All these PCs are from Amazon, so they're all listed on Amazon. I believe they're all Prime, and if the links will all be down in the description. If you do use those links, it helps to support me, and I get a tiny bit of like kickback from Amazon for that, because they are affiliate links, so I would really appreciate that. Any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, message me on Twitter, Instagram, all those good things. Again, you'll be able to find all the links to my socials down in the description. Okie dokie. Right, so here we are, first PC. This is, I don't know how to pronounce the name of the brand, but it is XUM. I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, so this is an i7 3770, 16 gig of RAM, GTX 1650 4 gig card. It's got a 256 gig SSD, terabyte hard drive, a 500 watt power supply in a kind of cool looking case. So this is the one that meets the minimum spec, basically. So this is a 3rd gen i7. It's got 16 gig of RAM. It's going to be DDR3 at this point. Graphics card wise, fairly modern graphics card though. It's a 1650. It's 4 gig, so it's more than the minimum said that we needed, which was only a 2 gig card. In terms of, you know, ratings for this is how I've had to judge this, is like, do they seem fairly reliable as a supplier? All the PCs I've picked seem, you know, pretty good, and you should be all right with them. And like I said, because they're all on Amazon anyway, you know, Amazon have a pretty good return policy if you do have any issues and stuff like that. So for, you know, just under £550, I think this is a good option if you're really, you know, you're trying to get into gaming on PC and you want something that is inexpensive but does still meet the requirements for the new Call of Duty, then this will do that. It's, you know, it's still got an M.2 SSD, which is really good, and sort of that's going to be super fast for loading Windows and stuff. I guess you only need apparently 25 gig to actually install COD, so you could effectively install COD on the SSD and it will run super fast as well, nice and speedy with loading times and stuff, so that'll be good. But yeah, this meets all the minimum spec, and it's $543.99 at the minute. It's 6% off, so I don't know how long that's going to stick around, but check it out. Moving on to the next PC, I believe we are moving now up to the recommended spec kind of PCs. So there is a bit of a price increase here. So this is the, I'm going to call it ADMI. I don't know whether you're supposed to say ADMI. Could be ADMI. But it's got a 11th gen i5, the 11400F. Motherboard is an MSI H510M. We're getting a GTX 1660 Super, which is a 6GB card, which is exactly what the recommended specs said that we would need. 16 gig of 3200 megahertz RAM, 500 gig SSD, and MSI Forge case. It doesn't actually mention the power supply, but I think it's a 500 watt if I'm remembering correctly. So this is 669, nice, 95. So 670 basically. It's a much more up-to-date PC. We're 11th gen rather than being what 3rd gen we were with the last PC. And the price increase, although it is, a step up, it's not that much more expensive. So if you're umming and ahhing and don't know whether to wait a little bit more and save up for something like this or get the first PC I showed, I would recommend, just giving it that little bit more time, saving up, because this is it's a big jump in terms of how recent this is. Like the CPU is a lot more recent. It's going to be DDR4 memory. So you're not, this thing is more capable for a longer future and a better upgrade path than the last one. Basically, with the last PC, yes, it's going to work for COD. It's going to meet the minimum that we've been given. But for future, you're probably going to want to upgrade that fairly quickly. And when you do, you're not going to be able to put a new CPU in it and just be like, oh, it's all good. You're going to need a new motherboard. You're going to need a new CPU. You're going to want to upgrade to DDR4 RAM probably. So just bear that in mind when you're thinking about the first PC as compared to like the second PC. So right, moving on to the next one. So we're sticking again with the ADMI gaming PCs. Again, don't know how to pronounce it. This one we've gone more for, rather than being an Intel CPU, we've gone for the Ryzen CPU option, which again, it shouldn't really matter, but they're fairly similar in their spec and performance-wise. Like I said, this one is a Ryzen CPU, so we've got the Ryzen 5500. This does have the RTX 2060 6GB card. The last one had the 1660 Super. So this one is a slight bit more money at 689, so it's a little bit more money. But if you're looking more for, if you maybe want to play something else that has like RTX, ray tracing, stuff like that, then the 2060 is at least an entry-level ray tracing RTX card. So if you want to do some ray tracing, like some very basic ray tracing, then this is a little bit more powerful than the last one, I would say, and it's able to do that, whereas the 1660 Super is not a ray tracing card, so it's not able to do the ray tracing like this RTX 2060. And again, it's Ryzen rather than Intel, so it depends where you want to, fall on this side. Are you an Intel fanboy? Are you a Ryzen fanboy? Are you not really concerned? Both of them are very up-to-date CPUs, and the rest of the specs are pretty much identical, I believe. The case obviously is different, but we've still got the same 16 gig of DDR4, 3200 megahertz RAM, still got the 500 gig SSD, we've got the 550 watt power supply, which I'm pretty sure the last one was probably the same. So yeah, both Windows 11 again, so very nicely up to date and perfect for what COD is looking for. I think COD was only Windows 10 it wanted, but Windows 11 is the most up to date version. I'm running Windows 11. I'm having quite a good time with it, so I would recommend. I'd recommend it. This one is saying it is VR capable as well. I'm not sure what the last one did. Let's go back and see if it did actually. I mean, it is saying it's VR capable, so maybe both of these pretty solid shouts for VR if you're looking to play a little bit of VR as well. I know this video is specifically COD Modern Warfare 2, but obviously you want to play different games on your PC, and you might want to delve into a little bit of VR as well. I highly recommend it. I do like VR. So yeah, both of these able to do a little bit of VR. Okay, so we're back to XUM. Don't know how to pronounce them. This one is a little bit more of a jump up. In terms of CPU, it's not as up to date as the 11th gen i5 that we looked at. It's a 10th gen, still perfectly fine. I'm still running 10th gen here, but we are upgrading the graphics card somewhat. So this is an RTX 3050. It's an 8 gig GPU, so we're getting a little bit more power in terms of our graphics card there. 32 gig of RAM. Again, that's just future-proofing you a little bit more. It's more than a lot of people will need. It's double the amount that the recommended is saying we need for COD. We've got a 512 gig M.2 SSD, and we've got a terabyte hard drive, 500 watt power supply, and pretty cool looking case. Again, up to you whether you decide this is something that you're looking for. Do you want that extra power? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, good sounding looking PC. It's got a year's warranty, it's saying here. So maybe this is an option for you if you have a little bit more money to spend and you want to get something a little bit more powerful. Then you're going for a 3050 rather than a 2060. Obviously, it's a generation newer. It's an extra 2 gig of VRAM. But CPU-wise, it's a generation older, but then, I mean, you're not really going to notice a difference there, I wouldn't have thought. We're now onto the last PC. Now, this one, I went for something a little bit different. It popped up on Amazon, and I was like, oh, actually, this kind of meets the spec. So, maybe if you're not a desktop gamer, you don't want a desktop computer, you're going to have to buy the monitor, and you have to buy the keyboard, and you've got to have the room and a desk and everything. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you are more on the go, and you would rather have a gaming laptop that you can take with you, you can move around, you can play it on the sofa, you can play it on the toilet if you really wanted. I don't recommend doing that. That doesn't sound very hygienic, but you could do it. If that's what you're looking for, then this Asus TUF Dash FX 517ZE 15.6 Full HD 144 gaming laptop. I said all the words, I said them very quickly. This might be up your street. It's only $899. I know it's not, I say only $899. That is still a lot of money. I understand that. It's a little bit of a jump from the last one. We're still getting a 3050. We're getting the TI version in this one. 16 gig of RAM, 512 SSD. It's a 12th gen. Intel i5. So, I mean, to be honest, maybe I'd recommend this one. If you can stretch the extra budget, maybe I'd recommend this one over the last one. Because, to be honest, the only thing that the other one had, the last PC we looked at over this, is it had a terabyte hard drive, which, it's fine. It's just more storage. It had a slightly older, sorry, not older, but slightly less powerful GPU because it didn't have the TI version of the 3050. So I assume the TI version is going to be a little bit more powerful. It had an older CPU, and then this comes with a 144 Hz monitor. Whereas if you're buying a 144 Hz monitor with a PC, you know, like you're buying the last PC that we showed you with the 3050, and then you're going to buy a 144 Hz monitor, maybe it's just worth buying the laptop. The only thing, obviously, with this, there's not going to be as much upgradability to this. You can probably add storage and change out the storage, so you could probably get a bigger SSD and swap it out. Possibly. I don't know the specs of this specific laptop and how easy it is to change. You're not going to be able to change GPU. You're not going to be able to change CPU. RAM, I don't know either if you're going to be able to change that. So, I mean, you buy this. This is the spec that you're sticking with. With obviously a desktop, it is a lot easier to buy and replace parts if you do want to upgrade in future. I think this is a cool option, though. I think the fact that it is only $899. Again, I say that saying like, oh, it's only $899. It's a lot of money, I understand. But you're going to be able to play COD. You're going to be able to run a lot of games. It's portable. You got 144 Hz high refresh monitor, which obviously none of the other PCs come with. And if you're going to buy one separately, it's going to cost you extra on top of, you know, what you're already paying for the PC. You don't have to buy a keyboard for this. I probably would recommend buying a mouse, though, if you're going to want to play sort of competitively. Or you could play controller. That's up to you as well. But obviously the keyboard is sort of built into the laptop. So yeah, I think this is a cool, different option if you want something on the go, and maybe you want to use it for, I don't know, work, and maybe it's a good excuse to buy, like, oh, I need a new laptop, so I bought this one. Oh, it can game, can it? Oh, I just bought it for work. I mean, I'll probably play COD on it. I mean, I should check it out. I think that's a good excuse to buy this one. So there we go. That's my recommendations. There's just a few little recommendations for PCs. If you wanted to look more at like second hand, then you might be able to get a bit of a cheaper deal. But you know, you never know how long that's going to last, or how badly that PC has been punished. So you know, buy new if you can, I guess, but you know, up to you. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, if you have a specific PC in mind, if you found a secondhand PC that you're like, don't know about it, should I buy it, is it a good deal? My DMs are always open. Drop me a message, drop a comment in the video. I'd be happy to help you guys out. Like I said, if you do want to purchase any of these PCs, links will be in the description, and if you go and buy via those links, it does help support me, which is very kind of you, and I do appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope it's been helpful. Any questions, hit me up. Twitter, Instagram, I guess TikTok. You can hit me up on TikTok as well. I'm on there. Drop it in the comments, whatever. But thank you guys for watching. Hope it's been useful. Remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy this video. And I will catch you guys next time. Bye!